And as Adam said, we are moving towards a silver divide or a silver tsunami, and I'm quickly moving in that direction, so if I periodically default to these, my apologies. One of the things you'll notice about my PowerPoint and my printout is that I tried to honor much of what Adam just told you, so I don't have a really exciting PowerPoint because I was trying to show both sides of what I needed to communicate, which is you need to be very accessible for people, but you can't always follow the rules for every type of person with a disability. And so that's probably the biggest takeaway from my presentation today. As Margaret said, a lot of my expertise is working with people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Believe it or not, I've been doing that for 35 years now. That's a lot longer than I necessarily always want to admit. Intellectual disabilities, that we try to explain that, because not everybody in every audience will know what that is. I'm sure many of you do. But it is people who have disabilities that involve their ability to understand and learn. Oftentimes, people who are adults understand the term mental retardation better. But one of my important messages today is that the term mental retardation is now considered to be very offensive and pejorative, and it's something that you should avoid, just like you would avoid any other type of slur that's in our community. And so that's just a little bit of political correctness, and I'm easing into my format here. There's also people who have cerebral palsy, who have epilepsy, who have autism or autism spectrum disorders, or any other type of disability that has support needs that are similar to people with intellectual or developmental disabilities will all fall under that category. For the federal definition, you need to have the disability before you're 22. For the state of California's definition of developmental disability, you need to have the developmental disability or intellectual disability occur before the age of 18. So I'm ready for the second slide, I think, or the third slide. So supports that often work well for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities include things that would really help all of us when we're in a new environment, or maybe something's confusing or we haven't encountered it before. And that is, the supports need to be tailored to the individual. Not everybody's going to understand everything all at once. So you tailor your education and your support to those individuals, to what they need. And that includes in the voting process. That is assistance with registering. And people with disabilities of all sorts can have assistance with registering. There's no law against it. There is law against trying to force somebody to register in a way that they don't want to register, but not the assistance of helping them register. Helping them be prepared to vote. Help with researching candidates and issues that might be on ballots. Someone that they can trust to help ask questions, who will remain neutral and give them both the pros and the cons of different sides of the issues, but try not to influence them with their own opinion. It's very critical to supporting people as they're going through the voting process. Adapted and/or alternative formats and materials. That could mean having Easy Voter Guide on audio, or have somebody reading materials to you, or having something on videotape or DVD. Help with voter by mail materials, because not everybody is comfortable going into a polling place if you have a difference. You should get a lot of sometimes unwanted attention, sometimes wanted attention, one never knows. Help with transportation. It's huge for people with all sorts of disabilities. How do I get, if it's difficult for me to get to my mailbox, or it's difficult for me to get to the grocery store, how am I going to get to the polling place? So that's a huge barrier in helping people get to their voting place and get through that process. Assistance at the polls, as Fred said earlier, people have the right to have up to 2 people assist them at the polls. And the operative word is assisting them, not telling them how to vote. And it also includes assistance with the ballot. So it's not just assisting them getting someplace, but it's actually filling out the ballot. Some poll workers or people that do voting work don't understand that. Some voters that might observe it may not understand that. But as long as the person is not having their vote inappropriately influenced, it's perfectly legal and all right for that to happen. So So Adam did a great job of talking with you about the rules for electronic format and written format, and he's a great guy, and the guy that I go to help fix a lot of this. But many of the rules for accessibilities are guidelines for electronic media or written media, and there's no set of guidelines that can help everybody. So different strokes for different folks. For example, can I have the next slide? Here's a slide that we use for people with intellectual disabilities, and we have pictures because pictures give people a lot of context, and things aren't necessarily all in a straight line with all of the text rules, but it makes it easier for them to understand. Next slide, please. Things that might create barriers and that we've seen a lot are, excuse me, I skipped a slide. Some things that can help people, I'm sorry, I got confused with my slides. I apologize about that. Things that create barriers are being treated differently due to your disability status, having your voting rights inappropriately taken away, either by the court system, family and friends, or by poll workers, misconceptions of families, support staff, and the community, barriers from poll site workers and other voters, lack of appropriate supports, you just didn't get the support you needed in the first place. Some literacy issues that people with developmental disabilities might have can get in the way, and lack of transportation assistance gets in the way. So what do we do to cure all of this? Remember, all voters are adults and have a right to be treated that way. Focus on including the person and the person's voting needs in the process, not focusing on their disability. Talk to and ask questions of the person who's the voter, not the person with them, although it's okay to acknowledge the person that's with them and helping them. Ask questions as appropriate and needed, and then take your guidance from your voter. Offer assistance, accommodation, and adaptive equipment, but don't insist upon its use because not all equipment works for everybody. And be welcoming and polite. And we think you've been delightful, but I'm going to hand it over to Gail.